All right, so welcome to today's lecture. Well, our actual first lecture for debate camp, which is impact calc, when comparing impacts for the judge. I'm pretty sure you all know what impact calculus is and how to use it in a debate round. But this is just more specifically on how to use it in JV, using it for like specific arguments. Because in a debate round, every argument has an impact. So even though you have one app, you may have 3 DAs which have all different impacts. So this is what's going to kind of address that. So the four parts of impact calc, if you forgot, we have magnitude, time frame, probability, and impact turn. Magnitude is how many people are being impacted. Time frame is kind of how long does it take? Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to take a decade? Is it waiting for another trigger for it to occur? Probability, like what are the chances of this actually happening? The impact turn, my impact will be like causing the opponent's impact. So why is impact calculus important? Impact calc is kind of a way to help the judge decide which side is winning. Because obviously the debate round needs to be judged on something. So impact is kind of one of those major factors in win or lose a round, because impact calc definitely lets the judge know whose argument is more important, who's making a more, who's stressing a more important topic within the debate space. The debater frames the significance of the events, removing the judge bias or intervention to compare impacts. Impact calc has to be comparative in the context of the opponent's argument so that the judge can think about how the two impacts interact with the arguments in the debate. So obviously, you don't have an impact, your opposing team also has an impact. So the judge's job is to kind of differentiate which impact is greater. And that's kind of what impact calculus does for the judge. So let's look at this for an example. We have Af, who's arguing that nuclear war is worse. Neg is arguing that paper cuts are worse. The Af side, who's arguing nuclear war is worse, has a magnitude, says that a nuclear war causes great destruction, many people will die. The time frame, tensions are high right now with tension, so it would not take long to escalate to a point where we would use weapons. The probability that China wants to prove that they are stronger than the US, so they will take the smallest opportunity they have to attack. The neg side, who wants to argue that paper cuts are worse, says historically, paper cuts have affected more people than nuclear bombs have. You can get more than one paper cut in a lifetime. They're really painful and cause suffering. Time frame. People handle paper cuts every day at a risk getting paper cuts continuously. The time frame for escalating tensions to lead to nuclear war is based on decades of poor relations and interactions. For probability, we have realistic empirical evidence that paper cuts are more probable than nuclear war. There has never been a nuclear war, and the last nuclear attack was 71 years ago. Even at a conservative estimate, someone in the world has gotten a paper cut every day for the last 71 years. Turn nuclear war. People with paper cuts are cranky and more likely to start wars. So, obviously, which one, who will win this round? Anybody. Who will win this round between nuclear war and paper cuts? Let's see. I'm gonna call on Jerry.
Paper cut.
Oh, Depot. That's correct. Paper cuts. Why do you say paper cuts?
That paper cuts happen every day, whereas there's never been a nuclear war.
Yeah, that's kind of definitely correct. The paper cuts argument definitely went for every argument that the nuclear war tried to argue. They kind of took down the fact that there has not been a nuclear war in 71 years, while the nuclear war is saying that there's going to be one tomorrow if something happens. And so the negative did a great job of not only advocating for themselves, but kind of going against what Apple was saying. The judge's job is not to pick a side they agree with so much as who's doing bad debating. And that can kind of get confused when it's time to judge. So we'll skip that. All right, so these are three types of impacts. I want you all to take 3 minutes and determine what types of impacts these are. Is the first one impact calc? Is the first one magnitude, time frame, probability? Is the second one magnitude, probability, time frame? So we're gonna go through these, read them, and determine which type of impact calculus they are. The timer starts now. 30 seconds left. All right, so let's see. Zaria, would you say the first type of impact calc was for the first one?
I said it was magnitude.
That's correct. What did you say was magnitude? Zaria, why did you say it was magnitude?
Oh, because it says China tech capacity is greater. So they're saying that their impact is bigger than their opponents.
That is definitely correct. Great job. For the second one, Melanie, what did you say for the second one? Melanie? Okay, no, Melanie. Jose, what did you say for the second one? Is anyone still here?
I say it's probability
Why did you say it was probability?
because in the passage they're basically saying one argument is saying that the Diamond 95 card is evidence saying, oh, a war is about to become like a big thing, but then this is arguing that the probability is unlikely because during the scarce of an actual war, they a population will elect a hardline war hawks will avoid diplomatic talks. So it's kind of like arguing that the probability of the war happening is unlikely.
Okay, does anybody have anything else different to like add on to that or had a different impact count? All right, so this one was actually not probability, it was impact turn. It was impact turn because if you look at the first sentence, they're kind of saying they say. In most impact calcs, when you're talking about impact, you don't mention the other team's impact unless you're likely to saying that it's wrong. But here specifically, they say that their Diamond 95 card, that Democratic collapse causes war. But my argument of submission is their Diamond 95 card. During the times of regional conflict, populations get scared and elect hardlines warhawks who avoid diplomatic talks. So this kind of like shows that the person who is writing this, their case kind of like their impact creates the opposing team's impact. That's kind of why this one was impact time. The last one, Deepa, what did you do the last one? Deepa, are you there?
I can't really see the bottom part, but
Here, I'll read it to you. Even if passing their plan allows, go ahead if you have the answer.
Magnitude. I think in the future. All right. I think this would be time.
Time frame?
Yeah, time frame.
Yeah, why did you say it was time frame?
Because it said even if their plan allows for better multilateral operations.
In the future, yeah, that's actually correct. Time frame is correct for this one, because they're kind of trying to outweigh that time frame is better, like it outweighs magnitude, because they're saying even if this plan does pass, it's like less likely to happen because systematic violence is going to continue happening. So really looking at how systematic violence is happening right now. So that's why these are the three. All right. So we're gonna skip that. So now I'm gonna move into parts of evidence because you're all about to read lots of evidence for your tournament. And you may not know what these are, but when you're reading, there are like parts of evidence. So at the top, the tag is a basic summary of what the text will say, like a headline in a newspaper article. So when you're reading the tag, that's the first part you read when you go, blah, 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 then you read the author's name. That first part is called a tag. Right under there is called a citation, a list of the author, the year, article book, qualification, and the link to the website. That long thing right under the title with next to the author's name, that's called a citation. You should always have that because you get called out for plagiarism, which can get you in a lot of trouble. Card text, the actual evidence from the source itself that you will read out loud. So that's what we call cutting cards when we're making that type of evidence. So what makes evidence good? The first part is the author is trustworthy. Does the author have the official qualifications to be writing about what they're talking about? Are they biased? Do you see anything that says, I feel, I think? The author is objective and has no political or financial incentive to make an argument. So that means, are they getting paid to write this article for someone? Are they running for political office? Somebody like offering them power? Make sure there's like no bribes to like make them write in a certain way. The text is trustworthy, high quality publisher, Time Magazine, Harvard Law Review, peer reviewed journals. Even if the author is qualified, you want to look at who's publishing the article because the publisher can still go back and change whatever you published. Proper context information is the context that belongs in recent information in question may have been changed. So you're making sure that like the actual text like matches what the headline is. So what makes evidence bad? Is it unclear or poor qualifications for author expertise? And this usually happens in a debate round when you're reading something that you have no idea what you're reading. And then when it comes time for the other team to actually question, you're kind of like looking back to the text like, oh, what did I just read? So that makes bad evidence. Like if you cannot understand what you're reading while you're reading it, then that's kind of bad evidence. Information is taken out of proper context. This can help you with Calc because a lot of times the author would make an analysis about a situation that really doesn't really exist or doesn't exist as much as they're exaggerating. Because you know, they're writing articles for clicks, so they're obviously going to make it more dramatic. All right, so that was the last slide for the evidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an Impact Calc tournament. Did all of you all get this Google Classroom thing here with all the topics and links here? I'll also post it in the chat. So go ahead and open this. I can start recording.
Yeah, so right now we're going to start doing impact calc debates. So if you guys want to choose one of the impacts that we have listed, type it in the